Welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Musa Jallo. In today's video, I'm gonna be reacting to a video from Los LeBlanc. Yeah, speaking some French here. And the video is entitled How to Travel Norway, Worth Every Dollar. But before we go forward, if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, you should consider doing so. And later in the video, if you enjoy the video, you can consider liking the video, But if you don't like it, you don't have to like it or say. But with no further delay, let's get into the reaction.
This is your final warning. This trip will lead to financial ruin. You'll have to liquidate your assets, foreclose on your house, and worst of all, you're gonna have to steal Timmy's college funds because this trip is gonna take every single penny that you have. Jokes aside, Timmy doesn't belong in college anyways. He's not the brightest one in the tool shed. Smash that piggy bank, take everything you've got because this road trip to Norway is going to be the most memorable trip of your life. Today, I'm gonna be showing you guys how you can have the most incredible road trip there is to have. It's an extremely complicated place to get around with all the fjords, with all these rivers. Let's get started.
Man, living in Norway, this is one thing, I'm really not so proud of myself of, I don't explore Norway enough, but you say it's really expensive to do so, but I would love to drive one day from the most southern point of Norway all the way up north, it's more than 24 hours. I think about 28 hours driving, but I would really love to try that one day, But Norway is pretty, man. You can just drive. You don't have to have anything planned. You still want to have fun, especially if you love being outdoor,
On this road trip, we're gonna be following the coastline going north. So to get things started, we're gonna go to the city of Stavanger. Stavanger is one...
Stavanger, not Stavanger. But I don't know, how would it know, He's American, so he wouldn't know how to pronounce it. But you could use Google Translate or something, or you ask somebody who's from Norway, they will tell you oh, it's pronounced Stavanger, I feel that's the least thing anybody can do in this situation,
One of the natural resource hubs of the country. The one thing you need to know is this is going to be your place to pick up your vehicle. And it is now time to get frightened because as we put forward our credit cards, you'll see how expensive this country is going to be. Renting a car in Norway is expensive. Renting a car and driving it one way is ridiculously expensive. This car, for about the equivalent of 10 days, came out to $1,200 US.
But if you look at it, it's about $100 per day. So about 1,000 krona per day. So in the grand scheme of things, that is not the worst thing I've seen, But also I have friends who rent the car for the weekend and then they pay maybe 1,500 for the weekend. So maybe it's odd. Maybe he's driving one way, that's why it's so expensive also, But you should have used Avis, Avis. That's how I say it in English, I guess.
If you're going to follow this itinerary, which I really recommend you do, you're going to need to pay that one-way fee as well because we're going to be driving a big distance. You can't really come back. If you're organized, I'm sure you could find a better deal. And I should also say I paid an extra $100 to get a luxury vehicle, which I really recommend doing because we're spending some seriously long hours on some beautiful roads. I would highly recommend making sure that you enjoy every minute of it. Even though Stavanger is just the starting point, I do have a couple spots in the city that I recommend. The first one is Gamle, which is the old town, and
bro, come on, man, try off the pronunciation for us, this show no respect to okay, I don't know about the respect, but it's good you came to Norway to see our country, but Gamla, it's it just means the old town, like the old city, they normally say Gamla Bien or Gamla B, but yeah, it's not Gamla.
and Ovre Holmgate, which is going to be this beautiful color.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop instead Norwegian. He doesn't speak Norwegian, so I'm gonna just leave him with his pronunciation,
Holmgate, which is going to be this beautiful, colorful street. It's kind of like a little alleyway with some cool spots to get some food.
Well, they're looking pretty good, despite the mess around them. We're getting extra sized waffles.
We tried out the famous Norwegian waffle, and with that, they put on their own very unique kind of cheese. It kind of looks and tastes a little bit like peanut butter, but it's fantastic. Kathy does not agree with me. I loved it. Throughout the itinerary, I highly recommend you keep a close eye on Airbnb. I found prices were almost a third of that of the hotels, so I paid about $80 in Stavanger for something super basic for one night, whereas a hotel would have been around $250 US.
That is actually so true, for me, if I'm planning to drive through Norway. I keep saying this, but I've never done it before. But what I'm doing that trip, it's gonna be like Airbnb, you know. Like take for example, if I want to stop in Stavanger, I have to like book an Airbnb in Stavanger and then like do things I want to do and just continue. You know? So like maybe I should take probably like 2 weeks off to do that, you know, like because you cannot do that if you really want to enjoy the place, like immerse yourself into the culture. I feel like 1 week is not enough, you know, like honestly speaking. Norway is big, you know. Norway is pretty long, you know, like you might see Norway and it might be like, oh, that's small, but Norway is pretty long actually.
So day 2 is actually not technically north, but a little bit inland. We're gonna be driving about 2.5 hours. One of the most beautiful drives you'll ever do, I should mention.
And this here is Frederick, and Frederick is here from Stavanger, Norway. And the place we're going to climb today is called Kajrag, but if you're not like me, then you would say Shrag. Shrag? Shrag.
One thing I should say is that if you repeat any of these things I say, the locals are gonna give you a funny look because I'm just slaughtering these names. I'm sorry if you're Norwegian, just forgive me.
Apologies accepted! I'm sorry for those who use the earphones, you know, but apologies accepted, you know.
Doing my best. Now this is going to be one of the top hikes in the country. It's one of the most iconic ones. It's also one that's going to leave you extremely sore the next day. If you're in decent shape, we're talking about 4 hours up and 4 hours back down. It was a really tiring hike.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do that, you know, like, honestly speaking, I'm not like an outdoor person, I'm gonna say that right now, you know, but 4 hours hiking, you know, 8 hours, that's like almost like 1/3 of the day, you know, like, what are you doing with your life, you know? Damn, dog, I don't know, it's crazy.
If you talk to any hiker or any local, they will tell you this is one of the easier hikes. I strongly disagree with them.
That is like so true, you know, like hiking in Norway is crazy, you know. Like the first time I came to Norway, like I was much more younger. I used to like play football and all that, you know. So I went hiking, like somewhere where people like take like I think they take like maybe it's not like a really big mountain actually. It was in Bergen. Like people take like maybe I think 45 minutes to 1 hour to go up. And then I saw some guys running, so I started running also, you know. So I ran from down all the way up. It took me like 20 minutes, you know, to run to go up, you know. But the thing is, when I reached up there, I got back home the next day. I couldn't wake up, you know. I couldn't feel my legs, you know. That's how bad it was, you know. Like hiking, I don't know. It's like a whole different thing, you know. I feel like if you don't like going to the gym like me, it's better you go do things like hiking, you know. You'll really get in shape.
A very mediocre hiker myself.
Cathy, help!
Now why do you deal with all this blood, sweat, and a lot of tears? Because when you get to the very top, this is what you have.
There it is. The reason we climbed all the way up here to stand with death.
Yeah, I'm really afraid of heights.
You're scared of heights. Are you afraid?
I'm very afraid.
I'm going.
That's my height.
I love you.
Oh baby, please be careful, I beg
Don't
you.
die.
I feel a rush. I really do.
I don't know if I'm gonna do that though. I don't know. Like, nah. I don't want to feel no rush. I don't think I'm gonna do that yet.
A rush that tells me to get off of this thing. This is what living is.
This incredible boulder being suspended between the cliffside, it is so beautiful. It gets your heart racing if you're willing to step out on it, and even if you're not, the view is insane and it's such a rewarding hike. Make sure you bring an extra few layers, especially a rain repellent one, because rain comes out of nowhere in Norway and the temperature fluctuates like crazy. And so I guess another travel tip is to pack wisely because everything's going to be more expensive to buy in Norway. But luckily, Norway had something very special for us because on our way down the valley into a place by the name of Leisbotn is one of the world's most beautiful roads. Leisbotn is...
This pronunciation is so bad. I'm sorry, but like, it's like really so bad. They're like, imagine like somebody like laughing at me speaking English right now like this, you know, it's gonna be really bad also. But I don't know, I just find it so funny, you know, like I feel like you should have got help from those guys who you met to like help like pronounce these things names, you know, like it's nah, bro.
Is basically a single lane road where every now and then when you come face to face with a car, you have to pull into the curve and let this person pass by, and you're descending at such a fast pace, going through tunnels, and finally it spits you out at the bottom of the fjord where you will be staying for the night if you're lucky enough.
And this is where we're staying tonight. Look at this place here.
I found this little bed and breakfast in the middle of nowhere. It said they had no vacancy, but somehow I was able to get a room there, and it was the best sleep I've ever had. Having just hiked Kajareg, I was exhausted, and when I woke up that next morning, what will be our day 3, I woke up to the sound of sheep, of a beautiful breeze rolling in the window. The weather was perfect. I was in a t-shirt and shorts, and it was just the most magical way to wake up.
I know, like, I'm gonna say this, I know, like, this whole experience is nice, the place looks beautiful, you know, but my question is, like, will you want to live like this, like, every day, you know? Will you want this to become, like, everyday life? If not from these places like this, you know, you go there, you're gonna be like, oh, it's, like, really so nice, you know, I love being here, you know, but the question is, like, do you want to do this, like, every day? I don't think anybody want to live like this, you know, like, because, like, I cannot, of course, I cannot talk for everybody, but for me personally, I don't feel like I want to live, you know. I would love to visit, I would love to experience, like, maybe 1 or 2 times, but I don't want to do it all the time, you know. Because, like, even looking at Oslo and looking at this place, like, so much more different, you know. So, like, imagine if you came from, like, a really big city, like, maybe, like, you came from, like, let's say New York or maybe LA or London, and you come here like this, it's gonna be, like, so different, man. I don't know. For me, I feel like I'm a city boy, you know. I just like the cities, you know.
So for your sake, I hope that that is what your day looks like, and I really hope you're able to get a room here. If you want to check it out, I would highly recommend booking it online. This is the name of the hotel, and I highly doubt after this video there will be many vacancies left, so book it out in advance. It was truly one of the highlights of this trip.
So this right here is a very simple tip. Norway has some of the cleanest drinking water. So with that, one of the best ways you can save money and reduce your waste, just travel with one water bottle, maybe an aluminum one. Some of the finest drinking water.
I've said this before, I've been to Paris once, and for me, like, the water, it tastes so disgusting, you know? But I feel like you live in Norway, that's one thing you get spoiled with, like, the water is, like, so good, you know? I don't remember the last time I bought water, you know? Like, I don't remember the last time I bought water in Norway. Because, like, a bottle of water is, like, almost €2 for, like, I think the 300 milliliters or the 500 milliliters bottle of water, you know? It's, like, almost €2, you know? So, like, why would you do that when, like, water itself is, like, so good, you know? If you, like, buy water, you're gonna, like, waste so much money, man.
You'll ever have.
So actually here is incredible safe, and you can leave your stuff in the car. We leave our laptops, our cameras, like whatever we need.
And because it's so safe, what we do is we keep all our valuables in there, but we each have our own sport bag, kind of like an overnight pack. And so that way, every time we stop, we don't have to take everything out of the car, have our toiletries, have the next day's change, not constantly pulling heavy luggages around.
It is time to go up north to Langfossen waterfall, and that's going to be about a 4.5-hour drive. Now I will stop myself to say one of the best things about this trip is not going to be the destination, it is going to be the journey. When you least expect it, you'll turn a corner and see a beautiful unnamed waterfall, a place that tourists don't go to visit. It's crazy to say, but it starts to become the norm on this trip. But with that, there are some waterfalls that stand out just a little bit more than others, and Langfossen is said to be one of the most beautiful waterfalls in the world, and it's the 5th largest in Norway. Once you're finished with the waterfall, I recommend just booking an Airbnb in the area. There's some really cool cabins, and so you can definitely get a very Norwegian experience.
I feel like that's actually, like, a good mindset to have, especially, like, traveling through Norway, because I feel like Norway is pretty big, like I said, you know, but also I feel like it's remote. We have, like, few population clusters here and there, you know, but overall, if you, like, look at the whole size of the country and where people are living, Norway is, like, pretty remote in a way. Like, this kind of a place, like, many people doesn't know about it, you know. So if you drive and see somewhere nice, you can stop, you know. And in Norway they have this route, like, called, like, the free roaming, you know, that if you're not on somebody's private property, you know, you're allowed to, like, set up camp and, like, be wherever you are, you know. But then the only thing they require of you after you're done with your camp, you should make sure you leave the place like the way you saw it, you know.
So when you're on the road here in Norway, one of the places you might come to know is this one right here. It's kind of like the Norwegian 7-Eleven. It's just a big convenience store where you can get your waters, your snacks, things to keep you going.
It is so overpriced. if you can avoid going there, don't go there. You know, it is so overpriced. I feel like compared to the other shop, it's so overpriced.
On the road.
Now for day number 4, I would highly recommend this hike to anyone that is an advanced or even intermediate hiker that isn't already dying from having done Kajareg. This is the #1 hike in probably all of Norway, and it's one by the name of Trolltunga. Basically, picture the
Hey, you said that on correct though. Wow.
Lion King's Pride Rock. Well, that is what it looks like when you get to the incredible viewpoint overlooking the fjord. I haven't experienced it in person because the hike time was nearly double that of Kajareg. If you decide to do Trolltunga, then you'll probably want to stay in a really cool town by the name of Oda. I think it's the closest town to Trolltunga.
I think it's a pretty big town also, you know.
And from my memory, it was a really beautiful one that we passed through. Continuing on to day 5, we are now arriving in the rain capital of Norway. It literally rains here 250 plus days of the year. This is the city of Bergen.
Guys, we're driving through Bergen right now, and it is insane. Look at all these homes in the hills.
Imagine
You know, like what I was talking about earlier in the video, but like when I went hiking, it was like literally around like where he's driving right now, you know, like around. The name of the mountain is actually called Sandviksfjella. So it's like it's people who hike, they will tell you like that's pretty easy, but like after I did that hike, like in 20 minutes I ran up. It was crazy, man. Like the next day I couldn't feel my legs, and it was like under me like this, literally, you know, like it's crazy.
little gingerbread houses scattered along the hills, narrow little streets winding through the mountains. This is what you have to get excited for. Bergen is one of the most beautiful, quaint little towns that I've ever seen, and I highly recommend spending a day or maybe even 2 nights here because it'd be a great place to just catch up on the Norwegian day-to-day life.
Tomorrow morning, we got a super early wake-up call. We're gonna get about 5.5 hours of sleep tonight. I'm excited. We have made it. 4.5 hours of driving, a ferry. We've arrived at Nigarsbreen, and this is a glacier which we are actually going to be hiking up.
It is an incredible glacier that's unfortunately melting at a very rapid pace and may not be here by 2050, so scientists say. On our visit, Katty and I did the short blue hike where they give you some crampons for your boots, they give you an ice pick, and they take you up top of the glacier. For my purposes, the 4 hours was more than enough. We got to see just about everything there was to see, but if you feel like you might need more time up there, there's the Long Blue. There's not really any Airbnbs in that area, so you're probably best off to find the nearest town. For Katty and I, we ended up staying in a place called Fjarland, and Fjarland is not close. In fact, it's a bit of a detour from this entire itinerary.
Welcome to our hotel room for the night. We're staying in Fjordland, and this is Fjordland Fjordstove. I think I nailed it. Fjord.
Actually, that sounds pretty good.
It's very chic, actually.
Yeah.
It was like this beautiful white cabin on the fjord. It was such a great experience that I would recommend doing a night or 2 there if you just want to relax.
If you're looking for a cool spot to stay, this is definitely one of them.
Now, wherever you decide to spend your night for day 6, you're going to wake up for day 7 to make your way to the most famous fjord in Norway. It's the most hyped up one, that's for sure.
This shot and feel.
It's called Geiranger, and Geiranger is
I didn't even see that coming, you know.
just mountains on all sides, an incredible crystal blue lake, a ferry that runs across it. You can actually take this ferry to get another perspective of this incredible area. And with that said, this was probably the first time in the entire trip that I had seen other tourists, in the masses at least. Seeing other tour buses go by, a few big hotels. I thought that Geiranger was incredibly stunning, but for the amount that it had been hyped up, and for the amount of beauty that we had seen in every single turn of our road trip so far, I found that it was just marginally more beautiful than the average place in Norway. So
That is like so true, you know, like I feel like that's the curse and the beauty of Norway. But you know, like we that live on like the eastern part of Norway, we don't really like have all these really nice places compared to the people who live on the west end or in the north, you know. But I feel like sometimes like some places get so overhyped, and then when you go there, like the hype doesn't match the match what people have been saying, you know. Like so, like the place doesn't match the hype, you know. That's what I'm trying to say, you know. But that's true, actually, you know.
I think that it kind of fell flat of my expectations. Personally, one night was enough, but we did not take advantage of the activities, like kayaking in the fjord, going to see some of the local waterfalls, and going on some of those incredible hikes that it has to offer. But I can share one thing that we did with you, and that was getting some incredible gourmet, handcrafted chocolates and hot chocolate. Bear with me here. The place is called Geiranger Chocolade.
So chocolate. It's chocolade. Chocolade. Not choco. It's funny.
How can a J come after an S?
Bienvenidos.
Oh my gosh, what did we do to deserve this? We successfully slept through breakfast. Great. We got a big day ahead of us. We got one of the craziest roads you'll ever take. Let's go. So we have just arrived here at the crown jewel of the Norway road trip, one of the most recognizable roads in the entire world. Right behind me here is Trollstigen, this crazy windy road that brings us down the mountain, over waterfalls.
I don't know, I really want to drive there, but I feel like the road is like so narrow, like the Landavai, or I don't know how you say it, like the country road, I think that's how you say it in English. I feel like it's so crazy, But you see, like they have like this little pockets on the road, so if you meet somebody come, you can probably watch you a little bit, and then when it passes, you go.
1.5 lanes wide, you have to constantly make room for other vehicles, and there's no better way to show you what it's about than to go do it ourselves.
With that said, once you've gotten down Trollstigen, you're gonna make your way back up and then head all the way to Ålesund.
We have made it to our next destination, guys. Welcome to Ålesund.
It's not very big, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Actually, I feel like it's one of the most prettiest city in Norway, like Ålesund. Like, I know it's a bit small, but if you look at it on the pictures and stuff like that, I feel like it's really so nice.
And one of the things that I recommend is if you make it back before sunset, then park your car at the viewpoint and hike your way up to the top of the hill, the tallest hill in the city, and you'll be able to see the most beautiful 360-degree view over the entire city. It was stunning. We ended up booking by accident this place that turned out to be really great. It was called 1904. Now there's a catch. It was 175 US a night, which actually is on the middle of the scale. You could probably find a cheaper Airbnb, but I really enjoyed that hotel. Now, one thing I should say is that Apple Maps was actually the surprising star on this trip. I found that Google Maps really wasn't giving accurate estimates and sometimes hid routes. So for this trip through Norway, it's one of the few times where I'll say,
I live in Norway, I'm gonna tell you this, like, don't use Apple Maps, It's like, it's really so wrong, like, you will not believe how much wrong it is, like, don't even try it, If you don't know how to get there without a map, use Google Maps. I feel like it is the best option, I don't agree with this, actually,
say it, Apple Maps is probably the way to go.
I can't think of a more fitting day to go and see what is considered to be one of the world's most dangerous roads. We're right now on our way to
The Atlantic Ocean Road.
We're talking 2.5 hours to drive there, and again, we have to come back, so that's 5 hours of driving total. It involves a ferry there and back, which is probably gonna cost, if I remember correctly, about $50. You're investing some time and some of your resources to get here, and for what? Well, for this.
I feel like this road is like so cool, actually,
This is the view of the Atlantic Ocean Road from above. Absolutely.
But like, okay, when the tide comes, when the water starts to increase, the water level, sometimes the waves from the ocean, it like get on this road when you're driving, so that is like so crazy to think about when you're driving. Sometimes there could be like water coming on like the road, so like it's really so scary, but I would love to drive there one day also,
Stunning, one of the most beautiful roadways I'm sure I ever drove, but there's a catch. The best view is the one that occurs when you fly a drone. When you're down on the ground, you don't get the full perspective. It's not nearly as beautiful as it feels in the drone, and so for that reason, I think that this is not the spot for everyone. I wanted to put it in the guide because I'm glad I went because I'm a shooter, but if you're not planning to get photos or video, I wouldn't recommend going all the way here for this. Alright guys, we're back at the room and we've got about a 6-hour sleep before we get to go to the airport and start our next adventure in Lofoten. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Day number 10 on our itinerary is going to involve us getting rid of our rental vehicle. You're going to be dropping it off at the Ålesund airport.
Feels good. We've arrived in Lofoten. And this is the airport. As much as it pains me to pay these expensive prices for car rentals, the one that has given me the best price, still expensive, is the brand by the name of Sixt. I think they're a European one. I saved about $100. I paid $80 a day here instead of roughly $105 a day. Oh yeah, feel the power. Say what you will, but there's something about a Japanese import that just really revs my engines.
Once I got to the Svolvær airport, I looked for the most budget car possible because unlike doing the road trip before, we weren't going to be doing long distances. The days in the cars were going to be much shorter, so we didn't need to spend more money on a luxury vehicle. If you've not heard of it before, Lofoten is actually an island. It's a beautiful, rugged island. It takes about 5 hours to drive from one side to the other. And so with that...
It's crazy though, like, I never knew it was that big, like 5 hours, like, just on Lofoten Island. That's crazy, man.
It's actually good just to find one hotel that you can stay on for the rest of your itinerary, because if you know anything about traveling, it's that packing your bags and moving hotel to hotel gets really exhausting. Personally, there's 2 areas I would recommend staying, either in Ballstad, which is where we stayed when we stayed with Hadvika Lodge, or in a place by the name of Reyne Fishing Village. And Reyne is probably the most picturesque, most beautiful of all of Lofoten. It's got the red, the white, and the yellow cabins all along the mountainside, along the water. With that, Ballstad is quite similar, but Ballstad has a very special place in my heart because of Hadvika Lodge. Hadvika Lodge is this family-run business. It was actually once a commercial fishery, but it's now since been converted into this incredible boutique hotel.
So this is also Christian, and Christian is the owner here at the lodge. So how old are they?
This one is the oldest one. The midsection is from approximately 1860.
1860, 1960. That's like more than 100 years plus, you know. Damn.
Such an awesome experience to be here right now. Do you know what time it is? It's
As you may remember,
The sky is getting a bit lighter right now because we like come to the end of the winter. But right now it's like 17:43, but it's like still dark, you know. But today at 4 p.m. there was like some daylight outside. Normally around like 2 or 3 it get really dark here, you know, in the winter. It's crazy.
the time of the year changes everything in Norway, and this is even more true up in Lofoten. Because we're further up north, the summer days are so long that they even have what's known as the midnight sun, where the sun never sets. 24 hours a day of beautiful sunlight.
One thing you need to know though is this beautiful sunlight that happens in the summer months does come at a real serious cost. The winter months are brutal. From December 22nd to January 6th, they will not see the sun at all. It will
That's crazy though, like.
will never rise fully above the horizon for 8 days straight.
But it's not just darkness. If you're lucky, you will get what's known as the Aurora Lights. If you haven't seen Aurora Borealis, it's one of the most beautiful experiences there is.
This is like a dilemma for me, right? I would love to go up to the north of Norway one day and see like the northern lights. But the thing is, the winter up north is like really so bloody. Like you said, like sometimes you don't see like daylight. But also, if you go in the summer, you don't get to see the northern light. But also you don't. But also you can go hiking. The island is there. It's not so cold. You can like move around. You can do different things. So it's like a trade-off, you know, which one is better, you know. But I feel like then maybe I should make like 2 trips, you know, 1 trip in the winter to go and like just find a northern light, and then like 1 other trip in the summer to just go and chill, you know, like a road trip, you know. Because like this place, you don't want to drive in the winter, you know, like it's too risky.
Have on planet Earth. I experienced the dancing of the colors in Yellowknife on one of their most vivid nights, and it is an experience that I will never forget.
Grateful to be experiencing my first ever real midnight sun. It's truly incredible.
No matter where you stay in Lofoten, one of the amazing things to do is going to be the hiking. If you want to get the best bang for your buck, the best view for your altitude meter, Christian, the owner of Hadvika Lodge, recommended a hike by the name of Mannen, and I loved the view. Full 360 degrees of jaw-dropping WTF. It was absolutely stunning.
Okay, that was a cool transition.
Tell you guys, my knees are just not like they used to be. I used to be able to jump twice that height, but definitely every year the knees just get a little tighter, but anyways.
Totally get it, you know, like, it's totally
You could easily spend a full week here in Lofoten. It's such an incredible place, and that is where I'm going to leave it. If you're
This video, I felt like it was really so good. Like, his photographic skills is like really so good. And overall, I feel like Norway is like, it's just so pretty, man. Like, I feel like everybody should come here once and try to explore and like see the country, see how pretty it is. But I don't know if it's like for everybody to live here, you know. but it's like I really enjoyed, you know. The video is like, it's really so nice. But thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't remember to like it. Comment down below what you think. If you have another video you want me to react to, leave them down in the comment section. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.